Support WrestleTalk!
It's time for our predictions of WWE Bad Blood 2024. I'm Luke Owen, DAD. This is Oliver Davis, and welcome to WrestleTalk. Please do give us a little thumbs up, press that subscribe button as well, and get your thoughts in down below. Get your comments in down below with what you think is going to happen at WWE Bad Blood 2024. I'm going to say the word subscribe, because I don't think I actually said... I think I said subscribe.
Subscribe. Do all those things.
Do all of them. Leave a comment in particular. So, we're here to give our predictions for Bad Blood 2024. A 5-match card, not 6, as Meltzer reported it was going to be.
Well, I think Meltzer, in his defense there... I'm going to get so many comments now. We're like, don't defend Meltzer ever. I think he was speculating.
No. He said... internally, Sammy versus Gunther was listed for Bad Blood.
Oh, so they've either that was always false or they've changed their mind. Because, Sammy versus Gunther, which I also expected on the Go Home Raw to be made for Bad Blood, it's on next week's Raw.
Because there was some speculation that the show being moved an hour earlier was to allow for an extra hour of the show, which would allow you to have another match on there. Along with, commercials and things like that, you're able to have another match on the show.
Can you believe we're even saying this? Like, because all those matches are going to get time. There's going to be few in-ring sponsor segments, if any.
They'll just be on the mat, or they'll be,
the Prime Hydration Station.
The matches themselves will be sponsored. There won't be, New Day coming out with those water guns to spray that sugar-infused water they were selling that one time.
Well, I hope then, either the Hell in a Cell or the tag match does have some kind of Domino's Pizza tie-in.
I can only hope.
Yeah.
Corporate synergy.
It's that. Did you hear the reason it's actually been moved a bit earlier?
I did not.
Reportedly, it's because the UFC are running that same night, which they're not supposed to do as a company.
Right.
But whatever place they're running, they were paid money to do that date. So we'll just shuffle things around a bit. So WWE isn't directly clashing with the UFC.
Oh, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. In a weird way, that does make a whole mess of sense. But, I said 5-match card, and you went, whew. You were relieved.
Yeah.
You're still on board for the 5-match card thing then? Which I actually do think at this point is still a controversial take to make, because common consensus is it's not enough matches. AEW's got too many. This has got too few.
I think, I'm a takeover boy. They were 5-match cards. They were 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but you get more adverts.
I think that's it. It's the hour extra, I think, is making people be like, where are my other matches? Also because
it's adverts.
Also because WWE themselves are doing a good job of wanting you to see matches, so that you want to see Sammy versus Gunther. I'd argue I'd want to see that triple threat ladder match that's on SmackDown on pay-per-view, rather than it being on TV where ad breaks will interrupt things.
But I love what WWE have done with the pacing out. Every episode of TV now feels like a card with an unmissable match on.
Absolutely.
Everything else underneath it, you'll have a bit of fun watching it. There'll be some storyline development, but really, are you going to sit down to watch Xavier Woods versus...
Go on.
Brutus Creed? That's a match that could really happen.
Yeah, you're right. I also would say that we're not in a pay-per-view era anymore. So you don't need to have loads of matches on a pay-per-view card, because it's not a pay-per-view anymore. This is just a third television show that they do, and they just happen to do them once a month.
But it is more focused on the matches. There's not in-ring segments, the backstage things. It doesn't feel like a TV episode. I've been saying it for years. I've been saying it since we probably started WrestleTalk. I think the 5-match card, 2.5 hours, 2 hours 45 is perfect.
Yeah, you are not a fan of 3-hour plus pay-per-views.
No. And everyone's like, why aren't you a fan? That was never the way. All the Attitude Era shows.
They were 3-hour shows.
They were 2 hours 45.
No, they were 3-hour shows.
We rewatched TNA Genesis recently, and it was 2 hours 45 minutes.
And it ran short.
Yeah,
that was the story that
Joe
came out.
knew and Kurt knew, and they went home early.
booked it ran short.
The old
They used to be
Attitude
booked out
Era
for three-
pay-per-views are 2 hours 50.
They were 3 hours. They were 3-hour shows.
We're going to get some bad blood in a minute.
Well, let's get into the card itself. We are kicking things off with a singles match for the Women's World Championship with Dirty Dominic Mysterio locked in a shark cage as Liv Morgan defends her title against Rhea Ripley.
Now, this is a curious one. And I think a lot of these matches could go either way. But this is one of the more imbalanced ones. I really could choose Rhea or Liv. There's daylight between them for me. Because Rhea, obviously they want the title back on Rhea. She can do a feud with someone else. But I think there's a version... no, Rhea wins. I tried to play out my other version in my head. I'm like, oh, but Rhea's then not got anything. So what I'll just fantasy book out is I think Alexa Bliss is returning with the Wyatt Six to not lead, but, be Auntie Howdy, as we all want.
All are saying Auntie Howdy, that's right.
And she will then target Liv Morgan, because the Wyatt Six's whole motivation is to take out people who have turned on their factions. Liv Morgan broke up a faction. She's a home wrecker, broke up the Dominic Mysterio-Rhea Ripley relationship. So Liv Morgan comes back, targets Liv Morgan. That's how Liv loses the match, loses the title. And then you have a blood feud there, Liv and Alexa.
Yep.
2 factions there, Judgment Day versus Wyatt Six. The way Triple H books, that's your WrestleMania
Gang
match.
Wars.
It's just that's the next 6 months of your life.
Yeah.
I hope you're ready for it. But then Rhea Ripley has the title, which she can defend against, I don't know,
Lyra Valkyria. And just because to stave off the comments, I believe you said that Liv Morgan is going to return to stop Liv Morgan from winning.
Yes, that as well. It's the Wyatt Six. It's spooky.
I've also got Rhea to win here because I think that the story of Liv's title run has been Dominic Mysterio sliding weapons in to, is it for Liv? Then it turns out it was for Liv. Then it's been for Liv. This is one where he's going to try and hand a weapon to Liv Morgan. Rhea gets it instead. Rhea wins the title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the classic shark cage spot where
exactly.
The heel drops the weapon for the other person, but babyface usually pushes them out of the way, grabs it.
Yeah,
I think that won't happen. I think he'll drop it and it will go to Liv, and that is a near fall. And Rhea kicks out because the actual finish is the whatever Alexa Bliss does.
Oh, because you're really in on this Alexa Bliss thing.
Yep.
Speaking of Judgment Day, it is a blood feud at Bad Blood as Damian Priest takes on Finn Balor.
Something happened in the Go Home episode of this where Finn was cutting his promo to camera, and I just thought, I'm over this.
Yeah. This was really hot coming out of SummerSlam. And I don't know, the build for this has made me less and less interested in seeing them actually have a match.
But you could say the same about Liv and Rhea. Like Rhea's been
and I will.
But
because I am not interested in seeing that match.
But as soon as they said Shark Cage last week, I was like, 100% in. Right? But like the Priest and Balor thing hasn't had that. So I'm just ready for this to be over. I think Priest wins.
Yeah, well, Balor standing tall on Raw would certainly suggest that Priest is winning here.
You don't need to use what happened on Raw as information here. It's Finn Balor and the Judgment Day against Damian Priest.
Also, it looked like Finn was going to be moving on into a feud with Ilya Dragunov, but unfortunately that's now going to be put on ice as Ilya Dragunov's ACL is going to go on ice.
Well, he's also a tag champion.
Oh, yeah! Isn't it?
Maybe he could defend those.
Yeah, it could be.
Have a feud about those.
Yeah, I'm going with Priest to win. We have for the WWE Women's Championship, Nia Jax defending against Bayley. Now, I was surprised this wasn't Naomi because we'd just done Jackson Bayley. So I thought, well, we'll do Jackson Naomi because that's a different matchup, and we can, go back down the line to do Nia Jax and Bayley, or you'll do a triple threat. You do a double pin spot, and you do a triple threat instead.
Yeah, I much more thought it was going to be Naomi and Bayley, which they even set up when they both pinned It was Nia, wasn't it? It
Yeah.
wasn't Tiffany in that tag match. And I thought, okay, wrestling, triple threat. No, they made the number one contenders match. So I don't know if that means Naomi turns on Bayley in this. I don't think Tiffany's turning on Nia.
No, I think that's a red herring.
Yeah, and that feels like a relationship that's got a lot more in the tank. So I guess it's Jax retaining. I hope they do a storyline beat that makes this interesting.
I think Jax also retains. I've got no other reasons why. I just think she retains. It's too soon to take the belt off of her. There'll probably be some Tiffany Stratton shenanigans.
So we've got three for three. We're the same so far.
Well, let's see if that could raise. But what's going to be the main event of this show is the bigger question, perhaps.
Should that be a prediction as well?
What will be the main event?
Yeah.
I think it'll be the tag match.
I think it will be the Hell in a Cell.
I think Hell in a Cell opens. And you do the tag match at the end.
Oh.
That's just my gut feeling.
Okay,
I'm happy either way.
Punkism.
But I do think that the tag match closes. I also, controversially, think it should close.
Okay.
Not saying that I'm not into this Punk Drew thing, though I'm less into it than I was 2 months ago. Because I'm really excited for this match, and I thought the go-home angle, the go-home promo stuff was excellent, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Punk and Drew end this. And also, I'm just stoked. Let's talk about it now. Punk versus Drew inside Hell in a Cell. The thing I'm most stoked for about this, and the thing I've been banging the drum for on the Raw reviews on the podcast recently, is they have made their Hell in a Cell gimmick feel special again. After 20 long years of that gimmick just being a big cage with a roof, finally, it feels like Hell in a Cell is a dangerous stipulation. And I think that is down to, A, Triple H's booking of the match and not doing loads of them, not doing 2 on this show. But I think Punk and Drew and like the booking around them and the writing around them has made the stipulation feel really, really special.
I think the content of their promos as well, thematically, they've really hammered home the hell element over the last 4 weeks when they've been on this path to hell. They're quite resigned by their fate now. We're like, yeah, I guess this is how it's got to be.
Yeah, it has to be this way.
Which is a really cool kind of, it's not the usual, I'm going to beat you inside Hell in a Cell, brother.
Or it's just, it's October, therefore it's me and you in Hell in a Cell.
It's a Saudi show. We need a gimmick. No, it feels more like, I don't want to do this.
That's it. I like how afraid they are to do the match, but they know they have to do this match. I think it's really, really great.
One of us, we have to both go to hell, and only one of us comes out, and we've settled it.
And I think it is going to... The one thing that does give me pause of it could be the main event is I think this is going to be a bloody match. I think they have done too much promise of blood for there not to be blood in this match, and I think there will be bad blood in this match, which in itself means it probably should be the main event.
I think Triple H, and how much he's protected the Hell in a Cell gimmick, like you say, it's got a main event. I know Roman and Cody are huge stars, but the biggest star, sort of the most historic star that should be treated the most special, is the stip.
Yeah.
Which is why I would put it on last, and is why I think Triple H will put it on last as well. On the stip itself, I was... When they did the go-home angle and they brought the cage down, I was like, yes, it's not red.
It's not red.
And I thought, when was the last Hell in a Cell match? Thinking it was like earlier this year, because I'm so used to so many matches. Yeah. WrestleMania 39.
It was last year's WrestleMania with Finn and Edge.
It has been 18 months since we last had the Hell in a Cell.
Just makes it feel special.
That was also silver.
Yes.
But
that had coloured weapons inside.
And a long red.
And Russell Crowe introducing it as well, which very much undermined the importance of the match.
The Pope's Exorcist star, Russell Crowe. So, but before we get into... I'm going to say Punk, because I think he's going to go on to face Gunther.
Yeah.
At wherever.
I'm also saying Punk, and I think that Drew takes time off after this and maybe has a Rumble return.
Well, that's a nice way to do it. What do you, of all the matches so far, who's the sponsor? Who's the gratuitous sponsor spot?
Well, Prime is obviously Matt's sponsor. Who is the sponsor for the Hell in a Cell? Well, Mike Hart Lemonade.
You reckon?
Yeah. I think it is Mike's hard lemonade.
I think it's going to be a cell phone provider.
Verizon.
Yeah, it's Verizon's Hell in a
Cell phone.
Oh, you know that guy that is it like Morgan and Morgan? He keeps popping up on.
Yeah,
we
he's a
don't
lawyer,
know what
right?
this is.
It sounds like a law firm.
Personal injury lawyer stuff, thankfully, isn't as big a thing over here. But he's on the sponsor bumper for all of Raw. It feels like.
Do you think he's the ring announcer?
He's got these like demon eyes.
He's gonna be in the ring like Michael Buffer.
I think he is the camera guy that gets taken out. Which facilitates them climbing to the top of the cage. Do you think they stay inside the cage?
No, I think they'll get out.
Punk's made of glass. He can't go on top of that cage.
No, that's just his ego. I'm kidding, of course. I think it's been so long. I think they will try and do something that's outside of the cage. But I would like to see them stay within the confinements of it. Punk's quite a traditionalist, so I think he would probably want to like keep it all within.
Well, the tradition of Hell in the Cell is to leave the cage. It was on the first one.
Yeah, to get outside immediately.
I'm curious as to how many references they'll do to that original Bad Blood.
Well, the whole point of this being at Bad Blood is because this is... it's weird. We keep doing all these tributes to 1997, but it's not an anniversary of 1997.
It's the big 27.
It's just... Triple H is like, it was a great year. I think we should... Because SummerSlam was a tribute to SummerSlam 97. And now here we are at Bad Blood as a tribute to Bad Blood 97.
Yeah.
He's just like, that's just the best creative year we ever had. I think we should just copy that. But yeah, I'm going with Punk to win this match. Brings us to potentially our main event, or our opener could be. It's Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns taking on the Bloodline of Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu in a tag team match.
I wish this was just the semi-main, and it went on before the Hell in a Cell match. But I feel like Roman's got it in his head, and it seems Cody to an extent. If you are not the main event, you open the show.
Because then you can go home.
Mm-hmm.
Beat the traffic.
You go first this time.
I'm going with Cody and Roman. It's Roman's first pay-per-view match back. I don't think he's losing here. Unless it's Jacob pinning him. But I think more likely it is Cody pinning Solo. Putting a pin.
How do you do the War Games build then?
Because then you can have the Bloodline challenge them to War Games.
Because they lost.
Yeah.
That's the Judgment Day booking.
Yeah.
Which I don't like. I want the faction to look strong over the admittedly super powered single stars, but how will they coexist? Them two working together shouldn't work as well as Solo and Jacob.
So I think the best thing out of that, the best outcome of that is Jacob pinning Roman. I think Jacob pinning Roman is a great bit of call. I think that's a great call to make.
It's a great bit of business.
Yeah, it's a
It'll
great
just rock it. It'll freaking rock it. Fatu up there.
Yeah, it's probably what I would do. I do think it is Cody and Roman though, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, Solo is there to be pinned, and I think that makes the most sense. I think we kind of need to put a pin in that, no pun intended, of him being a WWE Championship contender, and you don't damage Jacob in that at all. And then you can do the the War Games match, which looks like it's not Bloodline. It actually is just Roman, Cody, Randy, and Kevin versus the Bloodline.
I'm going to stick with my heart here. I'm going to say Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, along with the Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. And who knows, I know there's the reports that he's going to NXT, but maybe Hikuleo as well.
No, I think Hikuleo's going to NXT.
But whatever, they're all interfering. So it is really 4, maybe 5 on 2. And Jacob Fatu's awesome. I think they beat Roman and Cody. And Roman and Cody have to go away and get enforcements. They want the revenge match. Roman wants the layback, all on the line in War Games. It's their lay and Cody's title.
You think his title's on the line?
I don't know. I'm just booking on the fly here. But I just feel like if New Blood, it's a thing, lose here, it's just like, well, I'm not interested in War Games because I've seen you get beat them. That your two most powerful guys get beat them.
Yeah. I mean, that is what they did with the Judgment Day last year, and and they still did it. So I don't think it is out of the realms of possibility that Roman, I love the idea of Roman in his first pay-per-view back loses. I think that's awesome. Yeah. Also because he's only been pinned by like 3 people in the last 3 years. So yeah, having been pinned by Jacob, being the third man, is so good. And that really puts so much stock into him as a wrestler. And it does set up War Games, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's the mega powers.
How does KO play into this? How does Randy Orton play into this? There's loads of outs that Roman and Cody have, and I think the more intriguing story, the more dramatic story is for New Blood to win the first bout. New Blood. So that's the only one we differ on. And what's the main event?
Yeah, and I'm not 100% convinced that it is Roman and Cody winning. Like when we're doing Wrestle League predictions, I'm not putting my Joker on it. Like absolutely not. I am not convinced at all that they are winning. That's just my gut feeling in this moment.
Well, the Joker's 100% Nia Jax versus Bayley.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm putting my Joker on. 100%. That's what I'm putting my Joker on. So there's anything.
That's a plug right there for WrestleTalk.com/Wrestle League. Go over to Wrestle League and you can partake in predictions against all of us. Totally free. And there are prizes up for grabs. So the link's in the video description below. Go sign up there.
Until then, we will see you this weekend here on WrestleTalk because you and...
I think it's Sat.
Yeah. You and Sat will be here in the chairs reviewing Bad Blood in full. So check back here on Sunday for that review live on WrestleTalk. Till then, I've been Nico and DAD. That has been Oliver Davis. Jam that jam.